The actor Charlie Lawson, best known as Coronation Street's Jim McDonald, was halfway through... This is a really dramatic story. He was halfway through his new stage play when he suddenly went deaf in front of a packed audience. Imagine.
Yeah, it turned out he'd had a mini stroke. Now, after taking some time off, Charlie is now back on tour as Ian Rankin's famous detective Rebus, and he joins us now along with Dr. Barbara Murray, who can explain how and why people might have a mini stroke. But first of all, how are you, Charlie? You all right?
I'm really good, and thanks to everybody. I mean, people on the phone and Twittery stuff, and they've been really kind. I'm very well. I was very well beforehand. Do you want me to talk you through it?
Yes.
So off we go. Cast as Rebus, 108 pages, and 107 of them were me. And a massive part, wow. So much so that I started personally 2 hours before everybody else, blah, 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 whatever. The cast, Kathy Tyson, John Stahl, Eleanor, Danny, Neil, everybody was brilliant. Everything's going terribly well. One component didn't work, which I can't really talk about till the show's finished because it's not fair. So there was a culmination of things that happened, and I didn't sleep properly for a month. I lost a stone, and press night we opened, everything was fine. We got 4 stars in the Observer and the Guardian and what have you. All reviews were good. 2 weeks in Birmingham, then we went off on the road. First night in Edinburgh, packed house. Second half, Kathy, John, myself were on stage. There's a 35-page scene, the sort of climax of the piece. And I was looking at John, and I was aware very quickly something was wrong. I went deaf. The colour changed, my vision changed. Sorry, I'm finding it quite tricky talking about this.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah.
Do you want to take a moment?
Just take your time, you know.
And the next, I mean, you know, the play is me. Anyway, so the next thing was that Big John put his arm around me and took me off stage.
Gosh.
And 20 minutes later, I was all right.
Yeah.
I was fine. I knew something awful had happened. The producer was there. The one man who wasn't there, that didn't help either. But Rona was there. People who mattered, who cared about the piece were there. The actors were there. And I went home, passed out, went to sleep. The next day, had all the scans, and they revealed that I'd had a stroke. I'm sorry, I didn't expect to be.
No, I'm not surprised at all, because you know this is a really very alarming thing to have gone through, and particularly, actually, I mean, not particularly because it's alarming for everybody, but you're doing something you love, and you're in front of a huge audience. Yeah,
and I haven't had a time to deal with it, as Barbara said. I haven't had time to sit down and think, because 2 days later I was back on stage.
Wow. Let's talk to Barbara a little bit about. Just to give you time as well, a little bit about what had happened, and this is a sort of quite a serious warning, isn't it, about perhaps worse things.
So a mini stroke, or a TIA, which stands for transient ischemic attack, is it's defined as a focal neurological deficit. So that, in other words, there's an interruption to the blood flow to part of the brain, which usually resolves in less than 24 hours. But it can herald a more serious event. So 5% of people who aren't treated within, 48 hours, within a week may have a massive stroke or another event. And the odds go up the longer it's left, without minimising those risk factors that people have, such as blood pressure, lifestyle things, alcohol, smoking, stress.
Yeah. How do you know? Because it sounds like you didn't know what had happened to you, Charlie. And
I was aware for about 2 or 3 seconds that something was about to happen. And then really I could hardly see Kathy, and I couldn't. And I thought John was messing me about. I thought he was saying lines from a different play. Right. And I remember feeling annoyed. And then I remember moving to where I should have been, and then and there was a piece of me that knew something was wrong. Yeah. And then Big John just put his arm around me and he said, "Come on, big lad, off you go."
But you didn't know at any point that you had a mini stroke. I mean, Barbara, how can people...
Well, I suppose it's other people really who recognise it. So that's what we talk about, the FAST test: face, arm, speech. So facial droop, a change in the speech, either losing speech or talking rubbish and weakness in the arm, or confusion, loss of vision temporarily, all of those things. And the people who know you or who are sitting with you would recognise it.
And the other actors, they were trying very hard, because the initial thing, actors make mistakes. Happens all the time. Everybody does in every play. And initially, John felt that, you know, I tried, but it was kind of, it was more than that. I mean, I knew I hadn't a clue. For the tiny bit of time that I was aware, I knew I hadn't a clue what was happening. And then it just all went black.
So you went to the doctor, and you're now, are you on medication now?
I'm on really posh aspirin.
Right. Okay.
And basically, you reel off the names of all
Floppy
these
dog
things.
growth.
Right.
That's Cloppy
Right.
dog growth.
Okay. And then, I mean, I don't want to put you in a difficult position, because you're clearly still kind of coping with this. But
I need to sit down and think about it.
Right. And then you got to go back on stage. I mean, you
Tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tonight, folks, we're in Manchester at the Opera House, and all will be well. It is a great show. Ian loves it, which is the key to all of us.
Yeah.
And then we go to Northampton, Aberdeen, and Guildford. So we got 4 weeks to go, and then I'm going on holiday.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're taking some time for yourself.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Actors can whinge an awful lot. You know, Steph, you know, celebrities can whinge a lot, and I'm not like that. I don't whinge. But I knew I was exhausted, and I know I'm exhausted. And when I finish this, it's up to the Highlands for me.
Oh,
and,
lovely.
No signal, no phone, 2 dogs, and my beautiful Debbie, who's looked after me.
And tell us about Corrie, because you've been back in recently.
I've been back in. I was meant to, for those of you who thought it was completely nonsense and what have you, they asked me to come back for a year. I couldn't, because I'd committed to do Rebus. Had they asked me earlier, when they got the storyline together, might have been a different story. So, so a storyline that was that went to that, and consequently it annoyed some people.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see. And so just, you know, it serves as a warning. People who go through a sort of similar thing should genuinely straight to the doctor, shouldn't they? Yeah,
it's actually classed as a medical emergency.
Yeah.
Like a heart attack, and the treatment is exactly the same. And there are specialist stroke units now who deal with people immediately, just to minimise the risk of having a massive event.
And I think people as well, if you feel that you're under that kind of stuff, you should do. I mean, you know, I was advised by one doctor prior to this that I was suffering from exhaustion and I should pull out and stop. And really, I suppose I couldn't, because I was playing bloody Rebus. But listen to your alarm bells would be my key.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.